It was a bright, crisp morning in the quiet suburbs of Greenfield. Jack, a 6-year-old boy with messy brown hair and a boundless sense of adventure, was chasing a red ball that had rolled into the dense woods near his home. He was dressed in a blue hoodie, cargo shorts, and sneakers, the perfect outfit for a curious child. Little did Jack know, danger lurked just beyond the trees. Suddenly, a menacing growl echoed through the forest. Jack froze in fear, as a wild wolf, its eyes glowing with predatory intent, stepped into the clearing. Before Jack could scream, a blur of fur lunged between him and the wolf. It was Max, the family's golden retriever. Max, a loyal and intelligent dog with golden fur and a red collar, barked ferociously, standing his ground against the predator. The wolf snarled viciously, its predatory instincts sharp and unrelenting as it lunged at Max. Sunlight glinted off its bared teeth, turning them into gleaming, dangerous weapons. Max, the loyal golden retriever, stood his ground despite the towering feral opponent before him. Jack watched in frozen terror from a few feet away, his heart pounding as his best friend faced the imminent danger with unmatched bravery. Max dodged the wolf's first strike with remarkable agility, then countered with a powerful leap, snapping and growling with determination that belied his smaller size. The air was thick with tension, every clash of teeth and claw sending echoes through the dense forest. Patches of golden fur mixed with the wolf's darker strands drifted to the ground, caught in the chaotic dance of the battle. The snarls, growls, and yelps of the combatants filled the otherwise serene woodland, sending birds scattering into the sky. Jack's hands trembled as he scanned the ground for anything that could help. His eyes fell on a sturdy branch nearby. Desperation fueling his courage, he grabbed it and shouted at the top of his lungs, swinging the stick wildly in the air. "Get away! Leave him alone!" His voice quavered, but his love for Max lent him strength. Max, however, remained undeterred by anything except his opponent. His focus was absolute, his bond with Jack driving him to risk everything. The dog's actions were not just instinct, they were a testament to the deep connection between them. With each move, Max seemed to grow stronger, his loyalty fueling his courage. The wolf faltered, its initial confidence waning as Max's relentless defense wore it down. Finally, with a frustrated snarl, the beast gave one last snap of its powerful jaws before retreating, its dark form melting into the shadows of the woods. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the labored breaths of the victorious golden retriever. Max, his sides heaving and his golden coat streaked with dirt and blood, turned and limped back to Jack. His body bore the marks of the fierce encounter, deep scratches and a limp that spoke of his bravery. Yet, despite the pain, his tail wagged faintly, a testament to his unwavering spirit. Jack dropped to his knees, tears streaming down his face, as he wrapped his arms around his loyal companion. "You're a hero, Max," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. The forest, now quiet once more, seemed to bow in reverence to the bond between boy and dog, a bond that had turned the tide of the battle and proven that courage and loyalty could triumph even against the wildest odds. Jack knew Max needed help, and fast. Panic and determination surged through him as he knelt beside his injured friend, tears streaming down his dirt-smudged cheeks. "Hang in there, Max," he whispered, his voice trembling but resolute. Every second felt like an eternity as he gently scooped Max into his arms, his golden fur matted with blood. Nearby, a battered red wagon sat where Jack had left it earlier while playing near the woods. Struggling under Max's weight, he carefully placed the injured dog onto the wagon's faded surface, ensuring Max was as comfortable as possible. Though Jack was small for his age, his love for Max gave him strength. Gripping the wagon's handle tightly, he planted his feet and began the trek home. The uneven forest path seemed endless, every rock and root a new obstacle. Sweat mingled with his tears as he pulled with all his might, glancing back every few steps to check on Max. The golden retriever's breathing was shallow, each rise and fall of his chest a battle. "You're going to be okay," Jack murmured, as much to reassure himself as his beloved dog. The journey felt like hours, though it was only minutes, when Jack finally reached the edge of the woods and saw the small white farmhouse he called home. He stumbled up the gravel driveway, his legs trembling with exhaustion. "Mom!" he shouted, his voice breaking. "Mom, help!" Sarah, Jack's mother, was tending to her garden when she heard the frantic cry. She dropped her trowel and ran toward her son, her shoulder-length brown hair falling into her eyes as she sprinted. She froze when she saw Max in the wagon, battered and bloodied. Her green sweater and jeans, usually bright and welcoming, seemed to blend into the earth as her face went pale. "Oh my goodness, Jack!" she breathed, her hands flying to her mouth. "What happened?" "There was a wolf," Jack stammered, his voice thick with emotion. "Max, he saved me." Sarah quickly snapped into action. "We need Dr. Hayes," she said firmly, rushing to grab her phone. The local veterinarian had cared for Max since he was a puppy and was known for her quick response in emergencies. As Sarah spoke to Dr. Hayes, Jack stood by the wagon, stroking Max's paw gently. "Just hold on, Max," he whispered. "We're going to get you help." Within minutes, Sarah and Jack loaded Max into the back seat of their car, careful not to jostle him further. Jack climbed in beside him, refusing to let go of his best friend's paw. His small hand trembled as it rested on Max's, his gaze fixed on the dog's face. "You're the bravest dog ever," he said softly, his voice cracking with emotion. Sarah drove as fast as she could while keeping the car steady, her knuckles white as she gripped the steering wheel. Jack didn't notice the scenery rushing past. His entire world was in the back seat, his heart pounding with fear for Max. The retriever's breath was shallow, his usually bright eyes dull with pain, but his tail gave the faintest wag when Jack spoke. It was enough to bring fresh tears to the boy's eyes. By the time they reached Dr. Hayes's clinic, the sun was dipping low in the sky, casting long shadows over the quiet town. Jack refused to leave Max's side, even as Sarah and the vet staff rushed to lift him onto a stretcher. "We're here, Max," Jack whispered, his voice a mix of hope and desperation. "You're going to be okay. I promise." Dr. Hayes, a middle-aged man with gentle eyes behind his wire-rimmed glasses, worked with unyielding focus to save Max. His years of experience as a veterinarian were evident in his calm demeanor and swift, precise movements. The small clinic buzzed with urgency as his team moved around him, assisting with fluids, pain medications, and carefully cleaning and stitching Max's wounds. Every so often, Dr. Hayes glanced at Max's steady but shallow breaths, silently willing the brave golden retriever to hold on. The studiously conscientious girl rarely missed a beat due to the painkillers. In the brightly lit lobby, Jack sat huddled on one of the plastic chairs, clutching Max's red collar like a lifeline. His small fingers traced the worn leather, a tangible reminder of all the adventures he and Max had shared. Beside him, Sarah rested her hand on his shoulder, her own face pale with worry. Jack's father, a tall man with a steady presence, paced quietly across the room, his boots making soft thuds against the tiled floor. Though none of them spoke, the weight of their shared concern was palpable. Jack's lips moved in silent prayers, his tear-streaked face turned toward the closed doors of the treatment room. The clock on the wall ticked relentlessly, each minute stretching into what felt like hours. Jack's mind replayed the scene in the woods over and over, the image of Max's bravery etched into his heart. The boy tightened his grip on the collar. "You're the strongest dog in the world, Max," he whispered, his voice trembling. "You have to make it." Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the door to the treatment room opened. Dr. Hayes stepped out, his white coat smudged and his glasses slightly askew. He looked tired but wore a warm smile that immediately caught Jack's attention. "Max is going to be okay," he said gently, his voice carrying the reassurance the family so desperately needed. For a moment, the room was silent as the words sank in. Then, a wave of relief and joy washed over them. Jack leaped from his chair, throwing his arms around his mother as tears of gratitude streamed down his face. "Thank you," Sarah said, her voice thick with emotion. Jack's father shook Dr. Hayes's hand firmly, his usually stoic face softened by a grateful smile. The family followed Dr. Hayes into the treatment room, where Max lay on a soft bed, his golden fur peeking out from beneath clean bandages. His eyes were heavy-lidded with exhaustion, but they brightened at the sight of Jack. The boy rushed to his side, dropping to his knees and burying his face in Max's fur. "You did it, Max," he whispered, his voice full of pride. "You're so brave." Max wagged his tail weakly, the small movement enough to convey his joy at being reunited with his boy. Sarah knelt beside Jack, gently stroking Max's head, while Jack's father stood behind them, his hand resting on Sarah's shoulder. The family stayed by Max's side, their bond strengthened by the trials they had faced together. In that moment, surrounded by love and gratitude, Max drifted into a peaceful sleep, knowing he had done his job, he had protected the boy he loved, and now he was safe. News of Max's heroism spread quickly, becoming the talk of the town. The local news station covered the story, calling Max a hero dog and sharing the incredible footage of him protecting Jack from the wolf. The segment was heartfelt, with interviews from Jack's family and a description of the dog's bravery. People from all over the area were moved by the story, and it wasn't long before neighbors began stopping by the house, eager to show their appreciation for Max's courage. They brought treats, toys, and heartfelt cards. Max, though still recovering, was showered with love and attention from everyone who came to visit. The town, in an outpouring of support, decided to organize a small ceremony to honor Max's bravery. The event was set to take place in the local park. A few days later, the community gathered to celebrate the dog who had saved a life. Jack stood proudly beside Max, his heart full of love and gratitude for the golden retriever who had risked it all for him. As the mayor presented Max with a shiny medal engraved with the words, "Hero Dog," the crowd cheered. Max, despite his injuries, wore the medal with quiet dignity, his tail wagging gently. Max had become a local legend, a symbol of loyalty and bravery. The ceremony was a testament not only to his heroism, but also to the extraordinary bond between a dog and his owner. Jack felt a swell of pride as he looked at Max, who had shown everyone the true meaning of devotion. Max was more than just a pet. He was family. That evening, after the ceremony, the family returned home. They were tired but filled with a deep sense of gratitude for their loyal companion. Jack couldn't help but reflect on how lucky he was to have Max in his life. As he snuggled up on the couch with his dog, Jack whispered softly, "You're my hero, Max." Max, despite the pain from his injuries, responded with a soft bark, his eyes filled with unconditional love. In that moment, surrounded by the warmth of his family, Jack knew that the bond they shared was something truly special. Max had not only saved his life, but had also reminded everyone of the extraordinary connection between humans and their pets.